Tell me when we're good. Okay. Well, we are back for part 2 of the Art of Spooning's interview with Kansas City Master Barbecue Judge Mercy Barron and Surfside Deli chef and soon-to-be barbecue competitor Billy Joyce.
Yay!
Yay!
And welcome to everybody out there in Facebook Live Landia. Let us know during this episode if you have any questions for us to ask Billy and Mercy.
Facebook Live Landia, do you put a bird in it?
Do I put a bird? We'll save that for the smoker.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
What's up, Maria?
Hi, Maria. And yes, you did steal Mercy from me.
Me and I are doing our girl thing.
So, Food Network and the like have done a lot to glamorize chefs and cooking. They've also done a lot for barbecue. What do you think the effect of food TV has been on the barbecue world?
Well, I think it's been an incredible influence on me because it was 5 or 6 years ago, like a lot of people, watching all the barbecue competition shows. And, I just watch everybody tasting my favorite food and judging. I'm like, I want to do that. How's that happen? And I really didn't even know, I wasn't even familiar with KCBS or anything, the Kansas City Barbecue Society, who I'm certified by, and sanctions most of the competitions in the world. And it is worldwide now. Anyways, it was just one of those things where I was on Yelp, and I was reading some reviews of other things, and somebody had said, yeah, I'm a KCBS judge in barbecue. What's that? Hello? Wrote the guy immediately, and I was just very lucky that all of a sudden they were going to be teaching a class within a couple months in San Diego. It's never happened again. So, it's one of those things. That's kind of how I got started and influenced.
Okay. Yeah. So basically you'd say that it was Food TV that brought you
absolutely.
to KCBS.
What did you know about barbecue before that?
That I loved it, because sweet and savory are my favorite flavor profiles, and to be able to put two of those together, that's how, I grew up in Southern California. Dad's going to go out in the backyard and barbecue, which in Southern California, that did not mean smoking. It just meant grilling on the barbecue. And
burning.
Or burning, exactly, which I kind of always like that carcinogenic, little flavor. It was so good. So I love that, and I grew up with that. And even the barbecue places that we had probably where I lived growing up in the San Fernando Valley, a couple of them I think might have smoked their meats, but they sure didn't make a big deal about it or talked about it. And did I know? I probably just didn't think about it. And by the way, that line is now getting blurred, where it used to be barbecue only means smoking. There's a lot of powers that be in the barbecue world who say that's not true anymore. We can blur those lines. It's okay. Grilling is also barbecuing. So I'm just saying.
So this chick on Facebook Live, you might know who she is, Marie Tahan Daniels.
It's my new podcast.
She says she loves vinegar-based barbecue.
And Marie is absolutely right. There is no, in my view, the ultimate barbecue sauce is the Carolina vinegar-based barbecue sauces. I just think
I'm a rub guy. I'm not a sauce guy.
Yeah, and I understand that.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I'm fine with rub,
like
no
both.
sauce.
I like both. You will see in competition rubs and then a little glaze of some kind of sauce on top of that, because they want you to taste the meat. And I wasn't even really all that familiar with rubs over 5 years ago, and of course now I see it in competition all the time. And you're not allowed to have a lot of sauce on anything, really. You can't have a pooled sauce on a box or anything like that. So
but I will say Fluffy Unicorn is into vinegar-based sauces too, but I think that might be a Filipina thing.
I think that is more of the Filipino profile. But for me, the reason that I love the vinegar-based barbecue sauce is because you can taste the meat, and you can taste the meat. You can dip it in the barbecue sauce, and it's the way that they're going to play together, the way that the fatty flavors of the meat are going to play with the sauce is good, and it doesn't hide the flavor. If you're putting a heavy Kansas City style sauce on it, or even another one that I do like, the Carolina mustard based sauce, you're going to end up, though, that's the way that it coats the meat. You're tasting more sauce than meat in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
All right, Billy. So you already talked about on the last show chicken breasts. You want to do something different and out there. What's your style going to be? What are you going for when you get into competitions?
Well, just to kind of comment on what you guys are talking about. I love sweet, spicy, savory. Like, so my rub, a clean rub, not too overpowering on the rub, is important for me. I'm just starting to make my own barbecue sauce. We make it with the agave, ketchup based, vinegar. But so it's very clean. It's good for you. You're not putting a bunch of garbage in there, and it seems to be going really well at the deli right now. And but yeah, I mean, I'm influenced by the Filipino style as well. I want to get more into that. I was talking to Fern's Famous Barbecue, my buddies. We're becoming just friends, just talking to him, and he was talking about some guys are marinating their chicken in Tang to give it that color.
Tang to drink Tang?
Yeah, I wouldn't personally do that. I wouldn't.
Don't do that in competition. Oh.
I wouldn't personally do that.
No.
But I was thinking like, okay, can you do like
wacky?
Can you do like maybe like Thai tea to give it that color? I mean, I'm just starting. Things are. I'm not in competition.
Yeah,
but just in learning and what guys are doing and.
All that's great, and it's fun, and it's good that you realize that. You're thinking, oh, I want to stand out from the crowd. You really don't. In competition, you want to do what the crowd is doing, and the crowd is doing. Unfortunately, for some people who don't like sweet, is Kansas City style, and I think it's unfortunate.
The majority of competitions is sauced up now, huh?
And Sheen, I just asked somebody recently who travels a lot more than I do, and I will be traveling a lot more this year to other competitions in other states in the South, everywhere. Yeah. They say that it's starting to show up there too. I don't like hearing that because I want to go to the South to try competition, maybe with some Carolina sauces or vinegar.
Alabama.
I just came back from Alabama. Yeah. That was where the World Food Championships was.
Right.
But it's the profile everywhere now. Not too crazy hearing that.
I get having sauces available for people's taste, but you go to Grand Ole Barbecue Asada, you go to obviously Coops.
They don't
the sauces are they have them.
They're
on the side.
They're on the side.
Them, but man, how can you taste the meat and the smoke? With
But
all
that's
that
the
sauce
Texas
on there?
style. I think that's the fact that both of those places are Texas.
That's right. Texas style. All those styles have nothing to do really. Although I am saying it's Kansas City style more. In competition, it's a whole different world than what goes on in restaurants. The food is highly salted also in competition. They want to grab you in that 1 or 2 bites because that's all you're going to do. You're going to probably have 24 to 48 bites of food. That's about 2 pounds of meat. So when you see a novice at the table the first time, and they're eating everything on the plate, they're eating all 6 chicken thighs. I'm like, slow down.
The very first time that I judged a competition, not a barbecue competition, it was a burger competition, and I made the amateur mistake
of eating everything on your plate. Almost.
Yeah, that was Nancy rolled me out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that sometimes even after a competition, some competitors get upset that we take such few bites because we are allowed to take, at most contests, whatever we don't eat home with us. So people bring Ziploc baggies and ice chests, and you don't mind even eating the food later that's only got it's got a bite or 2 taken out because it's still so good, but it's very different. But they want us to eat more of it, and you can't. You can't.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm just up in my game as well. So I've been catering for 16 years, and with the deli now. And I want to get into competitions, but that's not my driving force. Right. My driving force is to become a better chef, continue to learn more, and I've been wanting to learn how to smoke. I just got picked up by Traeger. Some of the barbecue connoisseurs are gonna be like, "Oh no, Traeger, this and that."
When you say picked up, you're being sponsored by Traeger?
Yeah, Traeger sponsored us and gave us a grill for the deli. And I was talking to my rep last night about it, and he was giving me some insights. It's a great product. It's clean. There's no hot spots. You're gonna get a clean cooked all the way through. The wood's gonna be consistent year round. It's not gonna be wet.
But that's with the pellets, right?
To the pellets, and it's good. It's good.
Describe the pellets. Describe for someone who's not familiar with.
Yeah, they're just like little dinky wood pellets, and you put it in the hopper, and you plug it in, you churn it, and
it's still wood.
It's still wood. Yeah. And but it can also be used as a barbecue. It can also be used as an oven. And it also can smoke, which is a nice product to have. And it's kind of like my surfing quiver. I have my paddleboard for certain waves. I have my gun for certain big waves. Now I have my yakitori grill for my Japanese sushi style parties. I have my Santa Maria for my.
So do you use the yakitori on the surfboard?
No, I could maybe on my paddle boards. I could.
So talk about, and you don't hear about this a lot in barbecue, but you should talk about the quality of meat, sourcing of the meat for the barbecue, Billy.
Yeah. So so I've been once again catering for 15 years. For the first, let's say, 8 years, I would go to Costco, Restaurant Depot, get my meat. I really didn't know the difference between, I was trying to hustle and make money and support my family. And I was doing an event, and Eric Brandt walked up, and he said, "Hey, where do you get your meat from?" And I was like, "We get it at Costco, and Restaurant Depot." And I didn't know who he was, and he's like, "I'm Eric Brandt. I have my own ranch in Brawley, and I raise my own cattle, and it's third generation. And you should carry my meat at all your parties." I said, "Okay, well, let's start that relationship." And relationships are important. Like,
Absolutely.
I have a relationship with specialty produce that is very valuable to me. I have a relationship with Brandt Beef that is very important to me, and I continue to groom those relationships because,
As you well should.
I'm a huge fan of Brandt Beef and
Me too.
what Eric does. I first got to know their product at the Hillcrest Farmers Markets a couple of years ago. They were pushing to break into the retail market through the farmers markets here in San Diego, and we ate a lot of Brandt Beef, and I don't believe that I have tasted better beef. And one of the things you told me a couple of weeks ago that actually Eric hadn't was one of the reasons why. It's a different breed of cow.
yeah, Holstein cow.
Yeah.
Whereas, what are when you went to Costco, what kind of cow was that?
We get Angus.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Angus. And I actually recently tried some other meat.
Yeah.
Just to kind of compare
You
it
were cheating on Eric.
a little bit. No, I was it was more of a
Research.
side by side
Research. Okay.
research. And I even asked him. I said, would an Angus choice tri-tip compare to a select Brandt Beef tri-tip? And he's like, "I've never compared the two, but I swear when it comes in the package, it's comparable. It's the redder, the marbling's there. I mean, it's you're like, okay, well, the guy knows what he's doing. He just got a master excellent approval from whoever does that, but that's huge. Chef Fernand Metz is a huge person that's behind what Eric does. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that use it all over the,
From my perspective, I get a different flavor profile from the Holstein beef than from the Angus beef. I wouldn't say it's necessarily richer, but it has more character. It's a little beefier, and I think that's in large part because Holsteins are bred as milk cows. It's fundamentally a milk breed rather than a meat breed, and so I think the composition of the flesh is different.
How they're fed and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up the marbling. I know there's a trend in barbecue competitions now where they're starting to bring in Wagyu beef.
Yeah, we were
Let's
just
open
talking
that
about
can of worms.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I think competitors are constantly looking for the edge that's going to get them the call at the end of the competition and win some money. Because again, you spend so much money, you usually walk away and you've spent money and you've not made any money. So they're spending money on Wagyu briskets now. And I think you even asked me, can you tell the difference? I don't know. Maybe when I get those six, the six samples come to the table, and I'm really only taking a slice because we got to make sure there's enough slices for everybody at the table, unless there's so many in the box. I would probably have to put the Wagyu next to the one that maybe is not Wagyu. But I'm thinking, since it's so rare that I get a great slice of brisket, maybe the one that blows me away is Wagyu.
It's rare. It's rare that you get a great slice of brisket in a competition.
I think so. There's kind of
Are they pulling it from the point or the flat? Is there a specific place they've got to cut your sample from?
It's both. It's what looks good to them. It's what tastes, because they're cutting it. That's why some of them are really sacrificing that point now to make some burnt ends in the box.
Sure.
Which I ask at restaurants,
That's
and they
where you
usually
get your fatty brisket.
yeah, but a lot of restaurants they won't do that because it's using up the whole point, and you need it, especially to competition. You're going in there with several briskets, and you might be maybe making two. And you're cutting from two different ones to see what looks the best
Right.
and what tastes the best, what the fat cap is like, all of those things. There's so many different factors. And there's a running joke. All the judges in SoCal kind of know me for that. They just know that I just dread the brisket category, which is your last category. It's my least favorite.
You're
Sorry.
also completely full by then.
I am. I mean, I'm trying not to be, but I do pace myself because I know how to do that now.
So using Wagyu to me seems counterintuitive. It seems
Me
that
too.
because the marbling is fat, not collagen, and what you're doing with that low and slow, especially on brisket, is really trying to render that collagen into the
Right.
meat and thereby tenderize, and the fat's just going to run off.
That's what I'm
And
having
keep
trouble.
and to me, keep the smoke from penetrating.
I'm just having trouble understanding the what the idea is, because given the amount of time that you're cooking that brisket, the fat that you prize Wagyu beef for, and I'm a huge Wagyu fan, but the fat that you prize it for is going to be gone in the first hour of the cook.
And that's very true. And you'll find most competitors are not using that. It might, and I'm not sure, but it might be the ones that haven't won a lot. So they're going to, all right, I'm going to try to give myself an edge and go get that. But I know teams that don't use Wagyu, and they're grand champions or, regional champions at almost every competition, and they don't use that. It's just they know how to do that cook. They're so good at it that you give them the crappiest brisket, and they might do well with it.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me, too, that they're probably at a disadvantage if they're using Wagyu, because no way they're using that every day in their restaurants, if they have restaurants.
Or affording or being able to afford practice cooks.
Well, barbecue is so expensive. It's become a nice meal out in terms of cost.
Yeah, well, now you're getting another area that I would like to just touch on just briefly is that, when people complain about the cost of barbecue, I go, first of all, it's a skill. It's a skill that you have to really hone, and you have to get better at it all the time. And it's expensive to buy the meats, and it takes a long time to cook. So I don't want to hear about people complaining about that $30 slab of ribs that they got to pay for. Well, then go to Grand Ole Barbecue where you can do it market style and get it just a few ribs if you want.
Speaking of that, you and I had on the All Forked Up podcast, Andy Harris and Coop.
Yeah.
And we discussed this exact point. And as I recall, it was a combination of both of them went through everything that goes into barbecue, and just
in a restaurant,
in a restaurant,
yeah.
and just added up what the cost of putting barbecue on the plate.
It's unbelievable. They make hardly any. There's hardly any edge there to make some money.
And all the customer sees is some guy back there slicing that brisket as fast as he can and throwing it on.
And
the
you
plate,
just throw it in that box, and it comes out.
the wood.
The wood, the time, the effort, getting up at 3 a.m. It's
go spend an hour in Billy's parking lot. You get an idea a little bit what you're going to go through.
But that's mostly grilling. That's not even what you do in back.
There's a restaurant in San Diego. I'm not going to name names. So I wasn't really thrilled with their barbecue, and they told me what they were doing to try to save their brisket and keep it moist. I couldn't believe it. They're pre-slicing the whole brisket, and they're wrapping it in Saran wrap and keeping it in the warmer. I'm like, what? I mean, I try not to tell them what to do, and I didn't, but there was no moisture.
Maybe you should have.
There was no moisture. I mean, I didn't really like almost anything on the table, so I didn't even review it. But, I just don't. People will do whatever they can to get a moist brisket, and it's just it's a tough piece of meat.
Well, let's going back to your competitions and product. Where do competitors get their product?
Everywhere. There's still a lot of them going to Costco. Some of them rarely are they sponsored. Some of them have Smithfield. They're sponsored by Smithfield. They're sponsored. Some of them might be by Brandt. I don't go with the competitors to go buy their meats, but I could ask any one of them. But I do know a lot of them go everywhere.
Smart and Final.
Yeah.
Wherever.
You go wherever. And if you don't like what you're getting from there, well, then you go try somewhere else.
Have you noticed any correlations between people whose food you like and in competitions and where they're buying it? I mean, have you been able to find any correlations there?
Well, you're forgetting a really important factor. I'm tasting double blind. I have no idea.
But do you
who I'm
find out
tasting.
afterward?
Nope.
You never. So you don't even find out
Well,
after.
well, what's to find out after? Was that your rib that I tasted?
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
there's no way for
not?
them to know what rib I tasted. That
you
just
describe the
doesn't-
way it's cut. You can.
No, no, no.
Well, go talk to
That's-
the teams, I guess, and just even though you don't know what it is, you can
Yeah.
find out where they're getting.
After-
but the bottom
yeah.
line with barbecue is it really shouldn't matter. The whole point about barbecue is that you should really be able to take any cut of meat, generally the tough ones that you can't do
true.
anything else with,
And talent.
do it right, and
That's right.
and
That's
with the
why
right
it's
amount of
skill,
talent,
yeah.
the right amount of heat, the right amount of time.
Yep.
You should be able to make that into a beautiful piece of.
I'm gonna analogize that in a weird way to wine, where anyone who makes wine or knows wine will tell you that the least fertile soil in some ways makes the best wine. That unless you're stressing the vines, you're not making really high quality wine. And I think there's an element of that that with
There are a lot of vintners that'll disagree with that, though.
really I think
Go
most
to
of them-
Santa Barbara, where they're growing wine through that transverse valley, and they're getting that coastal flow coming in.
But that's not because the soil is fertile. It's that I think that what they're talking about is the winds.
Well, but they're also talking about a lower amount of stress, lower amount of heat. That's a whole different thing, though.
That's another
But
podcast.
that's why if you compare valley wines to hill wines, I think that there's pretty good. But anyway, my point is that I think that what is good for barbecue. There's still products that are going to be better to make barbecue out of
Absolutely.
than others.
Well, and also, let's go back to the wine analogy. It comes down to the winemaker as well. You don't just pull those grapes off the vine,
Absolutely.
throw them in a barrel, and all of a sudden you got great
Winemaker
wine.
takes skill.
So it's the guy, regardless of
Yeah.
the meat, the smoker, the wood, whatever. It's the guy knowing exactly to the second when to pull that thing off the fire.
But it's also important about relationships once again. Like when I go to my catering jobs, I start with specialty produce. I start with Venissimo's Cheese
Quality
Shop. I
ingredients.
start with Brant Beef. I start with Catalina Offshore. I'm not getting it's not coming on in a truck that I don't know who's picking it. Going out and picking it. I'm not going to grab the first one I see. I'm going to make sure that I'm grabbing the best of the best. So when my clients taste it, they're tasting the best. So I mean, it is important.
I mean, I think it is, and I think that even if the type of meat that is great for barbecue is slightly different than what you might put on a backyard barbecue, or the steak that you might do in a restaurant, there's still something that's better for barbecue than something else, and in the hands of a really great pitmaster, it's going to come out better than if that same pitmaster had a lesser cut. Had a lesser grade of meat. I don't know. Maybe
and getting back to the question you just asked me, I wish I wasn't so full after a competition because I do like to walk around afterwards. I videotape some of the pitmasters. Mostly, not always, but mostly a lot of their food is gone already because they've handed
Right.
it out. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm too full.
Yeah.
I'm too full to go over and go, gee, I wondered if I had your food. I wonder if I got yours at my table. There's just no way of really knowing. Yeah. And
Do you see a correlation between winners and in quality meats, quality product?
Well, it's so funny that you say that because there's one team that seems to be winning almost every freaking competition they're in. They're heavily sponsored. They're called Big Papa Smokers. And it's just amazing. They win so many grand championships. It's kind of blowing me away. It's like I kind of want to get to know them a little bit more. I want to go talk to them after a comp. I want to go taste their things. But I do and I don't. I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to go, oh my God, at a competition, at a table, oh, I can tell that's theirs. I don't want that. They don't want us to know. I mean, they would probably love us to know it, but the reps and other judges, you don't want to know who you're tasting. But I think that does happen a lot.
There's a couple times that I've judged that I thought I knew and I was wrong.
Yeah.
Billy, do you know anybody, any chefs, any restaurateurs that have done barbecue competitions, been successful, and then translated that into a brick and mortar? And I guess the extension of that question is that what you're hoping, that you do these competitions and it translates into something business-wise?
No, I don't know anybody personally, but so we just bought a house. We moved from the beach to East County. I love it. I'm happy we bought a house, but I'm driving around going, okay, where can I open a barbecue shop? Like that's how my mind is working.
What are you, crazy? You don't want to open a restaurant.
I know. Well, I mean,
you already got one.
I already have one, but I mean, that's the progression.
No thanks, got one.
That's the progression of maybe success, of learning, of, you know, you want to continue to grow, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Where the future holds, I mean, I hope I continue just to grow and have fun and support my family and
so this
make
is
people happy.
this is a new direction for you as a chef a little bit. I mean, something you've been working on for a while, but you're seeing something in the future, cooking on open flame and smoking and that type of stuff.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, you get stagnant. You gotta, if you look at the bars in OB, look at the restaurants in OB. Just take that for an example. Some places have fallen behind because they haven't continued to grow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to name a certain bar, but there's. I mean, I don't even drink anymore. But like, there's just people that have come in, and they're just they're taking over because they've grown with, like, you know, that bar pub food or that casual layback, you know, environment versus the, you know, giant meal. I don't know.
We're a different country, and we're a different city than we were, you know, 5-10 years ago. And we started off talking about this episode talking about food TV, but food TV has had an impact on it, and the stuff that flew back then doesn't fly now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're approaching the end of this fourth episode of The Art of Spooning, and so it's time for the specially produced fruit of the week. And so, Billy, tell me what that is.
Kefir lime.
And what would you do with it? What would you do with kefir lime?
I'd make a dirty thing out of it. No, I would. I would.
How dirty?
No, I would zest it. I don't know. It's.
Would you zest that, really?
That's what. Yeah.
I would.
I guess so. Yeah.
I would zest it.
So can, yeah.
Maybe, you know, put it onto. So I don't know, some type of baguette with, you know, some melted killer cheese from Venissimo's and maybe some honey, and to get that savory, sweet, creamy.
Oh, neat.
Kind of flair to it. Maybe some crunchy nuts on top.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How about you?
Well, first of all, I think they look like little green brains. They're amazing.
They do look like little green brains.
I think I would love it in a Thai curry. You
Yeah.
know, make a Thai curry of some kind and have the acidity to bring all the flavors out. Real simple like that, yeah.
Way back when, Valley View Casino, when they first opened, had that all-you-can-eat lobster and crab buffet. And
Was it good then?
It was good then. I'm talking 10, 15. I'm going way back when they first opened, and you could actually get in. Little-known secret menu thing, if you handed them your lobster and crab, they'd put it in a wok behind the thing and mix it up with a chili sauce.
Yum.
And it comes out, you know, as a wet crab, saucy crab. So the next time I saw something like that was Dave and Waite when he first opened over at Wrench Road, and he would throw together kind of a butter gochujang type thing and do something, you know, different things with that. So I like to do that too with either crab or lobster or shrimp or both. What I would do with that is I would section it or at least cut it in half, and I would just throw it in the wok as I'm sautéing my, you know, aromatics to kind of get the essence of that rather than the zest. Maybe zest it as well, but kind of get some of that roasted kind of limey coconut flavor into the sauce, and that's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking that I'm going to do a kind of a Thai play on gremolata, which is a classic Italian preparation that involves you know, lemon zest and garlic and parsley. And I'm going to use the kaffir lime, and it has a kind of a slightly coconutty flavor, aroma, and so I'm going to use that in the gremolata, and I'm going to do it over some Thai noodles, and so, you know, basically a play on gremolata used in an Italian pasta, but do it in the in the Thai style.
Yum.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So, Mercy, what have you got going next?
I'm leaving Friday for a barbecue competition in Las Vegas at the Downtown Throwdown. It's a KCBS sanctioned event, and at the last minute, they seem to have needed a master judge, and I really hadn't planned it.
Master.
And my boyfriend's in New York this week, so woohoo! I'm free to do whatever I want anyways, but, I think I'm going to go do that, and I just want to say barbecue rocks. Yes.
How about you, Billy?
This weekend?
Yeah. Or what do you have going next?
Oh, well, the next 6 days is catering, 15-hour days.
Oh, jeez.
And then
Don't envy you for
It's
that.
the holidays.
yeah, and then next week, looking forward to hanging out with my kids, and I got 9 and 10-year-old going surfing and
Nice.
put my feet in the sand. I'm missing a little bit right now, but
Yeah.
that's what you do. You got to rise and grind, and handle your business and have fun doing it, and
Love what you're doing.
love what you do.
Yeah.
Can't teach passion. It's my hashtag.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Well, that brings us to the end of this broadcast, this fourth episode. In the new year, we're going to be coming back, and we're going to come back with 2 of San Diego's best chefs, asking each of them who is the best chef in San Diego.
OMG, really?
And one of them's Patrick Ponsati.
Wow, Patrick.
And the others, Dave and Wait.
Oh, 2 fantastic chefs.
We're going to try to have a little bit of a knife fight.
Oh, God. Well, it was nice being on the show. Thank you. This may be the last one you have. I don't know.
No, second to last.
Yes, second one, right.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time
See ya.
on The Art of Spooning.
All right, thanks for having us.
Yeah.